Welcome to Deep Space. This is Elite Dangerous and I'm on board my Asp Explorer. I've been playing Elite for over 90 hours now, and after all that grinding, I've finally unlocked this, the Sol System Permit, which will allow me for the first time to visit our solar system, Sol, 4.37 light years away in that direction. And so to celebrate this momentous achievement, I thought I would put together a historical tour of the solar system, looking at the planets, the history of how they were discovered, how they've been explored, and how we came to understand how the solar system works. So make sure your tray tables and headrests are in the upright position, buckle your seatbelts, and let's go. Welcome to the channel, and welcome back if you've seen some of my other videos. I thought I'd mix it up a bit and check out a game set over 1,000 years in the future. Hey, here we are, next to our sun, 150 million kilometers from the Earth, and we can probably get a nice look at it from the external camera. Slightly fish-eyed, but look at that. The sun is a huge ball of hydrogen and helium, and by fusing the two creates the energy needed to sustain life on Earth. It fuses 600 million tons of hydrogen into helium every second, and this energy can take up to 170,000 years just to escape the sun's core. It then takes just over 8 minutes to reach Earth. The sun accounts for 99.86% of all the mass of the solar system, and as we now know, that's why everything in the solar system orbits it, because of the gravity resulting from its vast mass. Right, so let's go for a little drive around the sun, as you do. The idea that the solar system orbits the sun is relatively modern. Before that, people thought that the Earth was the centre of the universe. I suppose it made sense if you looked into the night sky and saw everything moving, but you appeared to be standing still. Why wouldn't you think that? Here's a 1568 depiction of the cosmos, with the Moon, Mercury, Venus, the Sun, Mars, Jupiter and Saturn, in that order, orbiting the Earth, all inside something called the firmament, sort of like a giant cosmic dome. The thing is, if you follow this geocentric theory and try to plot the orbits of the planets based on what you're observing, it leads to some pretty interesting results. What a mess. But the idea that the planets actually orbit the Sun is at least as old as the 3rd century BC, when a Greek astronomer called Aristarchus of Samos proposed it. Those Greeks, they came up with everything. But his ideas were completely forgotten until the 16th century, when Polish astronomer Nicolaus Copernicus, who had heard about Aristarchus, formulated a heliocentric model with the sun in the middle in his work 6 Books Concerning the Revolutions of the Heavenly Orbs. In the original manuscripts, he actually cited Aristarchus, but in the final published versions of the book, he removed all mention of him. Cheeky bastard. Although what Aristarchus only proposed, Copernicus backed up with actual maths. And carrying on from this Copernican model, a host of scientists and astronomers added to it and expanded our understanding of the solar system and the planets, as we shall explore in more detail. But now on to our first planet from the sun, which, as Aristarchus would be able to tell you, is Mercury. So let's throttle up and leave the sun behind. See ya, sun! Right, where's Mercury? It's over in this direction, so let's line it up and, as Paddy McGuiness would say on Top Gear, let's open the taps! We'll be there in no time! We're using the frameshift drive at the minute, which is Elite's version of faster than light travel. We're going about 4 times the speed of light at the minute. Elite has an incredible 1-to-1 scale of the entire Milky Way galaxy, with 400 billion stars in it, of which our galaxy is just one. So technically it must have the largest game world ever created, Elite Dangerous, even though something like 9.9999999% of it is just empty space. We've just travelled 54 million kilometres, and here's Mercury, a rocky planet with virtually no atmosphere, only slightly larger than Earth's moon. It's the smallest and fastest moving planet, hence why the Romans called it Mercury after their speedy messenger of the gods, Mercury. Here's a picture from the Messenger probe. But let's get a closer look and land on the planet, which we can do thanks to the Horizons DLC for Elite Dangerous, and this is one of the best things to do in Elite, is finding a planet and landing on it. At the moment, you can only land on rocky planets, although I think that's due to change soon with Odyssey, which is another add-on which will come out early 2021. But it gives you a fantastic sense of scale, how big these things are. It looks small now, but as soon as we get closer, you can appreciate the scale. Mercury's surface looks a lot like the Moon, but it also has some features called lobate scarps that you don't find on the Moon. These are cliffs that can be thousands of kilometres in length and are the result of the planet shrinking and parts of the crust being forced upwards and outwards during this process. It's a bit like plate tectonics on Earth, but more extreme. I can't actually see any of these lobate scarps looking around, but it's happening because Mercury is slowly cooling. The smallest planet is becoming smaller. Right, let's find somewhere nice to land. I think that crater there on the left looks pretty good. See if I can land just over in the shadow. Mercury's been known since ancient times for at least 5,000 years, but it's a right bugger to see, and that is a technical term, because it's so close to the Sun, it makes observing it very difficult from Earth. Apparently, on his deathbed, Copernicus expressed regret that he'd never in his life been able to see it. In fact, it's so difficult to see that until very recently it was one of the least understood planets. The length of its day was only determined in the 1960s. It's a little under 59 Earth days. We're coming in hot. Better slow down, pull up. It does take a little while to get down to the surface, but it's good fun. Right, I'll deploy the landing gear. We're 177 metres off the surface, and now our forward trajectory is 0, so if we just use the boosters to glide down... Deployed. Yeah, thanks, I know. Quite a long time ago, you're a bit late with that. The landing gear is deployed. Now you've got to do this kind of mini game, which to try and get the... There we go. Try and get the alignment correct as you go down. So... doesn't really look flat to me. Looks like we're coming in at a bit of a wonk there, but we're down. There we are, we're on the surface of Mercury. There's the Sun over there, and we can select our SRV Scarab, deploy it, and we can go for a little drive around on the surface, which is pretty cool. Here we are. Low gravity warning. Because Mercury is much less massive than Earth, its gravity is about 38% that on Earth. I've just turned the driver assist off there because it's bloody annoying. I'm just going to go head over to the sunlight over here. Mercury has the highest range of surface temperature in the solar system. It ranges from minus 173 Celsius in the shade, on the dark side, to 427 Celsius, which is easily hot enough to melt lead. But although Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun, it's not the hottest because it has virtually no atmosphere to keep all the heat in. Right, here we are then. What does this look like from the outside? Oh, cool! Wow, Instagram ready. Hashtag out of this world. Hashtag cool. Hashtag love Mercury. Right, let's get back to the ship. Now you've got to park your buggy the right way round, otherwise it won't let you board the ship, which is always a bit of a pain. Are we the right way? No, we're the wrong way round. I've got to swivel it 180 degrees. Unlimited future technology, faster than light travel. The amount of 3-point turns I've had to perform in Elite. I've become a master. 90 hours of 3-point turns. Adios, Mercury. The last thing about Mercury before we leave it for Venus is that Mercury has an irregular wobbly orbit because of the gravitational pull of the Sun and other planets. But astronomers in the 19th century were certain that what was causing this weird orbit was the gravitational pull of a as yet undiscovered planet in between the Sun and Mercury, and they called the planet Vulcan. No, not that Vulcan. They spent decades looking for Vulcan because nothing else, to their minds, could explain Mercury's orbit. That is, until in 1915 Albert Einstein turned up, and he was working on his theory of general relativity, which looked at gravity in a new way. And to put his new theory to the test, he did some calculations to see what it would say, or what it would predict about the orbit of Mercury. And hey presto, it explained it perfectly without the need for Vulcan, without the need for another planet. And there's a great thing Einstein says when he saw the results. He said that he had heart palpitations and couldn't work for 3 days because he was so overcome by joy that his new theory that explained the universe in a new way worked. So thanks to the planet Mercury, its weird orbit, and the search for planet Vulcan, his theory was proved. Okay, time to travel 50 million kilometers to Venus, which is over here. There it is. I'm just thinking about that old drawing of the geocentric model of the solar system, and it reminds me a lot of the flat Earth theory. I wonder if I can resurrect geocentrism as a conspiracy theory online. I think it would do quite well. Venus. Venus has a very similar size and mass compared with Earth, and it's sometimes called Earth's sister planet, or as I prefer, Earth's evil twin, because it is so inhospitable. It's like an Earth where everything's gone wrong. It's a terrestrial rocky planet, but with an extremely dense atmosphere, which is 96% carbon dioxide. That means it's the hottest planet in the solar system. The average temperature is 464 degrees Celsius. That's warmer than the hottest temperature on Mercury. The atmospheric pressure is 90 times that of Earth, which means that on the surface, it's the same pressure as being 900 meters underwater on Earth. And to top it all off, it rains sulfuric acid. So it's not a great holiday destination. Still sounds nicer than a weekend in Butlins. Right, let's fly round to the dark side of Venus to see the sun setting through its atmosphere, which is should be pretty. The Soviets landed 10 probes on Venus, and here's an image from the probe Venera 9, which landed in 1975. This is the first image from the surface of another planet. That's pretty cool. And here's a picture from Venera 13 in 1982. And you can see the bottom of the probe in the shot too, but with that toxic, dense, yellow, horrible atmosphere. Of these 10 Soviet probes, the longest one survived on Venus' surface was just 127 minutes, which means you could just about squeeze in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade before your TV melted. But that's how toxic Venus is. Just around the far side of Venus now, so if we turn around here, we should be able to see the sun coming through its atmosphere. Et voila! Oh, that is cool. Sorry, got lost there. Was miles away. Right, on with the tour. Actually, part of the reason I've been playing this game for so long is because I keep just stopping and admiring the views. Next stop, Earth. Let's charge up the frameshift drive and go.
3, 2, 1, engage.
Okay, we're getting fairly close to Earth now. Ah, that's the moon. So, it took Apollo 11 about 3 days to travel from Earth to the moon. Let's see how quickly we can do it. I mean, we are travelling, I think, at 0.1 the speed of light. So here we are, Earth. Elite Dangerous is set 1,286 years in the future, which means that currently it's 3,306 AD, and looks like the Earth is still here, which is good. We've survived global warming. I was expecting maybe just a blue ball, with sea level rise, but looks like we're doing alright, and we're next to Australia. This image of the Earth, well, the first photo of the entire Earth, called the Blue Marble, was taken by the crew of Apollo 7 in 1972. It's one of the most reproduced images of all time. although it's been flipped and cropped. Here's the original with Antarctica at the top. And that got me interested, so I looked up the first ever photo of the Earth taken from space, which dates from October 1946, taken 105 kilometers above New Mexico from a captured V-2 rocket from the Second World War. It's not going to win any awards, is it? But it's quite interesting. Next stop, Mars, just flying by the Earth. It looks like there's a hurricane there. I thought I wouldn't go into too many details about the Earth, seeing as we all know it pretty well, I think, unless you're watching this maybe in the far future from a moon base or Mars or something. In which case, Earth is an Earth-sized planet with the same mass as Earth, and one day on the Earth lasts exactly the same length as a day on Earth. Oh, we are going to be passing quite close to the moon. Let's go in for a closer look. I usually play Elite with a controller, but I'm playing it today with a keyboard and mouse because I've just moved house and I don't know where the controller is. It's at the bottom of a box somewhere underneath a pile of boxes, so I'm struggling a bit with a keyboard and mouse. It's a little bit difficult to control. Definitely better with a joystick or a controller. Anyway, we're coming quite close to the moon now. It's fantastically detailed. And that large impact crater that you can see at the bottom, that's called the Tycho Impact Crater, and it's named after a 16th century Danish astronomer, Tycho Brahe. When he was 20, he lost a good part of his nose in a sword duel, and so for the rest of his life, he wore a fake brass nose, which he used to glue to his face. Poor old Tycho. Well, at least he's got a crater named after him. Oh, better put the anchors on here. Oh, we're going to go past it. We're going to... let's just carry on to Jupiter. Mars wasn't not really that much to see on Mars anyway. See, that's the thing with Elite. It can be very difficult to control the ship. Especially if you're not paying attention. Mars, named after the Roman god of war, the Red Planet, which, as you can see in Elite Dangerous, isn't red. It's been terraformed. And that is where the land and sea would be if Mars was terraformed. That's based on the topography of Mars. Mars is about half the size of Earth, and there are some things about it that make it a very attractive place to try and terraform. For example, the days are almost the same length. They're about 40 minutes longer than Earth days. And it also has seasons similar to Earth, although they are almost twice as long. In the world of Elite Dangerous, Mars was successfully terraformed by the year 2291, although the game doesn't specify exactly how that's done. Most theories on how it could be achieved focus on increasing the thickness of the atmosphere. Mars's atmospheric pressure is less than 1% that of Earth, and that means that any heat rapidly escapes Mars. The average temperature on Mars is minus 63 degrees centigrade. So the idea is by releasing carbon dioxide stored on Mars in various forms, the atmosphere thickens and the planet warms up. Water would remain liquid on the surface, and humans could walk around with just oxygen masks rather than fully pressurized suits. Sounds good, but the problem is, according to NASA, that there just isn't enough CO2 stored on Mars to do this. Releasing all of it would only produce around 7% of Earth's atmosphere.
Frameshift drive charging.
Right, let's take a closer look at terraformed Mars.
3, 2, 1, engage.
And another problem with terraforming Mars is that its gravity is only about 38% that of Earth, because it's about a tenth as massive. No one's really sure of the long-term health effects of low gravity on the human body, even if the atmosphere was made hospitable. Bit of a party pooper for the terraforming Mars idea, I know. I don't think I'm going to get a job with SpaceX's PR anytime soon. We're on the far side of Mars now. Looks like everyone's got their lights on. Mars has been a prime candidate for extraterrestrial life for a number of years. It was first popularised in the late 19th century. The American astronomer Percival Lowell published a book in 1895 which included drawings of canals that he believed he saw on the surface. He speculated that Mars had been, or was, inhabited by an intelligent alien civilization, and that shook things up a bit. And it inspired H.G. Wells's famous novel War of the Worlds, which featured a Martian invasion of Earth. No direct spoilers, but what would have happened if those aliens had had their flu jab? Could have been a different story. Anyway, coming back to the supposed canals on Mars, they were found to be optical illusions. Although Mars is thought to have had liquid water on its surface 3.8 billion years ago, which could well have sustained life, and with the Curiosity and InSight rovers active right now on the surface, who knows, we might yet find life there. I like the fact that these rovers can take selfies on Mars. They've got a selfie stick next to the soil sampler. Anyway, we are leaving the terrestrial planets behind, Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars, and we're heading on to Jupiter, the first of the gas giants. I'll just get it here, select it as our target, but that will be in part 2. And when that's released, a week after this, I'll put a link in the description and you can click on the link in the video as well. So thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, please consider subscribing for more, and I'll see you for the second half of the tour in the next video.